Hi everyone, it hasn't been long since my last upload on Milli Vanilli, but there were a couple of points that escaped my memory for inclusion in my fans analysis recording. Also, reading the comments of viewers beneath particular videos, it made it necessary for me to add a couple of key notes which I consider worthwhile and important. I may as well go in hard and tackle the most controversial observation I wanted to make. Now, I say controversial because nobody wants to be given negative feedback about their work, their actions, their thoughts, or the words. But I'm sorry if something is inappropriate, unethical, and has a negative impact on somebody without it serving any purpose, then I think that it should be addressed. And what I'm talking about is particular uploads or commentary videos rather that I saw within the space of YouTube discussing the topic of vocal coaching. One illogical YouTuber is alleging that the fact Fab Morvan used vocal coaching at some point proved the fact that he was unable to sing previously. There is nothing more absurd that I've heard. Imagine suggesting that Maria Callas and other greats were not really naturally born singers because they attended academic institutions such as the Odeon of Athens or the Music Conservatorium, as we would say in English, of Athens. What sort of irrational deduction is that? I know that private vocal lessons are not the same as attending a conservatorium, but we're talking about the difference between operatic singing and singing for the genre of pop music. This dubious, at least in content of intelligence YouTuber, went as far as to insert a clip of Fab Morvan receiving vocal coaching on how to pronounce particular words as far as his rap sections of the songs were concerned. You gotta remember, this gentleman's first language wasn't English, and I can vouch as a person who struggles with my accent and has to try extra hard to make myself sound legible. It is quite a challenge at the best of times to try and pronounce vowels or consonants or connective sounds in a language that is so different from your mother tongue, let alone to actually speak rap parts in a speedy fashion when you are not even familiarized with the words of a particular language and you're a newcomer to that particular spoken format. I can't even grasp the concept of how regular people are more sensationalistic than even the tabloids. What do they get out of it? Do they think they're going to stir a lot of controversy and therefore interest among the public, that in turn will result to a lot of hits and therefore traffic will bring in big dollar signs? Why and how do you sacrifice your dignity in the place of a few dollars? And even all the millions in the world are not worth your integrity of character. Finally, my position in this is that no matter how hard you try, you can never get a chair to make the beautiful music a guitar does. Every instrument must be finely tuned from time to time. In a similar way, you can't force somebody who's not a naturally born singer to make beautiful music with his voice. In closing, I would like to highlight that nobody from the Milli Vanilli boys made money without working for it. They had to dance, they had to appear in interviews, on television program segments, at various performances, answer to reporters and to fans alike, remain brave through the whole ordeal, no matter what they felt like inside, stomach a lot of fear and anxiety, and they honoured the contract which they had signed. To me, all of those things point to people with integrity of character. In fact, they had the hardest job out of everybody because the vocalists sang the bit and they were over and done with. The producer mixed his music, promoted the stuff, and he was over and done with. Fab and Rob, pun intended, had to face the music because if things fell apart, and they were about to at any moment, which they did, they were left on their own to face the brunt of it all, to bear the anger of the public, to be labelled as frauds, crooks, all sorts of unkind and unfair characterizations, to lose their respectability and for their lives to be destroyed indefinitely. At the very worst, Frank Farian walked off and sailed into the sunset unscathed with millions of dollars in profit. Somebody went as far as to say that people are lying in this documentary that is screening on Paramount Plus. It has to be either Ingrid or Fab, and because Fab is so calm and not getting angry and carrying on, that indicates, according to this observer, guilt on his behalf, but that is nonsense. Fab comes across as a very peaceful, kind soul, and not everybody reacts in hysterics when faced even with dishonesty and injustice. I'll let you to be the judge of who is saying the truth. But Ingrid doesn't strike me as a very honest person based on the way she expresses herself, especially her reassurances that her interest in Rob Pilatus was purely platonic. That's all I had for you today. Thank you so much for listening.
It's a tragedy for me to see the dream is over, and I never will